There will be two oaths, the official oath and the loyalty oath. All right? If you'll place your left hand on the Bible, raise your right hand. I, and state your name.
I, Joe Walker,
Do swear or affirm that I will, as a member of the Board of Elections, duly attend all ensuing primaries and elections during the continuance thereof, that I will, to the best of my ability, to prevent any fraud, deceit, or abuse in carrying on the same, and that I will make a true and perfect return of such primaries and elections, and that I will all times truly, impartially, and faithfully perform my duties in accordance with the Georgia laws to the best of my judgment and ability. I do further solemnly swear or affirm that I am not the holder of any unaccounted for public money due this state, or any political subdivision or authority thereof, that I am not the holder of any office of trust under the government of the United States, any other state, or any foreign state, which I am prohibited from holding by the laws of the state of Georgia, and that I am otherwise qualified to hold said office according to the Constitution of the United States, the laws of Georgia, and that I will support the constitutions of the United States and of this state. So help me God. If you will, say I will.
I will.
Very good. And once again, raise your right hand, left hand on the Bible. I, and state your name.
I, Joe Walker,
A citizen of Pickens County and being an employee of the Pickens County Board of Elections and Registration, and the recipient of public funds for services rendered as such employee, do hereby solemnly swear and affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of Georgia. So help me God. If you will, say I will.
I will.
Very good. You're official.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
At this time, I'll call us to order. Ladies and gentlemen, if you would, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, flag of our country. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And folks, at this time, I'd like to ask for just a moment of silence for the former Elections Board member, Paul Lindsey, who was buried on Sunday. So let's just take a moment of silence. Amen. Approval of the minutes from the March 1st meeting.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion, duly seconded. Is there any discussion? If so, the minutes will stand confirmed at the sound of the gavel.
Don't forget to have a stove. Do what? Don't forget to have a stove.
Yeah. I did. Did anybody have any discussion on the minutes? I should have asked that earlier. Okay.
Just call for a vote.
All right, let's have a vote on it then. All in favor? So be it. Approval of the agenda.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Vote on it, please. Everybody in favor?
Aye.
Approved. Old business, we have none. New business. Have a May regular meeting date.
On last year's November election, moved the meeting date to the end of the month when we finalized the election. And then when we were at conference in Athens, we had discussed possibly keeping that regular scheduled meeting at the first of the month, that first Tuesday, and then doing a special called meeting when on election day and keeping that meeting open until we finalize the election. That way, if we have to conduct any kind of election business, we're able to do that in that time and not have to call a meeting until the results are final. So we just need a vote on that.
Okay. right, I believe
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
we have a motion duly seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Rehire of Cathy Connell.
Okay, Miss Cathy was in the office prior to the new board. She had to leave for medical reasons. She had a couple surgeries. She was planning on coming back right after her first surgery, but she ended up having to have a second surgery. She had to take longer, and she didn't want us to hold her place while we could find somebody else to be in there helping us. I've talked to her since. I've told her anytime she ever wanted to come back, we would love to have her because the knowledge that she would bring to our team. And I have asked her if she would like to come back on an as-needed basis during advanced voting, because when Kay and Rhonda are both at advanced voting, it would give me an option to have somebody in the office with me, and then we could swap out days that Rhonda needs to come and be in the office. We could send her over there, so it would only be during the advanced voting times, but in order for us to hire her back, we need a vote.
Motion to rehire on an as-needed basis, Cathy Connell.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Poll worker compensation.
Okay, since finance dug in and was looking at the way that the 1099s were done for the board, they also found that in the IRS documentation, it lists that poll workers and election workers should be considered as a form of employee for the county. So we're going to have all of the poll workers, we're going to do them as temporary employees for the county. They're going to have to fill out new hire paperwork. We had to do personal action forms. Right now, we're up to about 87 poll workers, so the elections office will be considered as having 87 employees underneath them. One of the things that has been brought to my attention after meeting with finance is by making them an employee before, when we did not pay for poll worker training. If they're an employee, we can't mandate them to do something and not pay them. So I need a vote by the board to pay them a amount for poll worker training. And now we have set amounts that we pay them for election day. I don't think it should be that same amount. So I am proposing that we pay $50 for poll worker training. So I just need a vote on that.
Point of order question.
Go ahead.
Why are they not considered contract employees?
That's the way they've always been done before, but under the IRS with a contract employee, you cannot tell a contract employee certain times to be there, certain dates, the way that I have to with poll workers. They have provided me with some documentation, if the board wants to look at it afterwards, about where it says this. With the IRS, Section 218, agreement election workers. So.
What was the date of that advisory? There must have been some big changes.
It's got dated 2022.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. And I met with, finance requested a meeting with me on this, as soon as we got back from conference, and then I had to meet with payroll, finance, and HR. Now, as far as setting up the new hire applications, I'm going to have HR come the nights that we have poll worker training. They're going to help them fill it out. Any questions they have, they're going to be able to answer it then. So it's not like we're going to have to make the poll workers take an extra step to come in another day. We're going to be able to get it all done that night.
Yeah, that's going to add some significant cost to the county.
Point of inquiry? Is there anything that says you may not set that as a qualification to be considered for employment as a poll worker? In other words, require that the applicants be trained prior to applying for employment and then offer it to them?
That's a legal question.
You won't be able to pay their expenses if they're not employed in some manner by the county.
Could you speak a little louder, Phil?
As I said, I don't see how you can pay someone's expenses until they're employed by the county.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think it'd be a mess to reimburse after the.
And to further up on just that every county has slightly different training.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
to say that one set of training is not applicable to the entire state.
Do you think the poll workers that you have are going to be okay with this? Do they know about it?
They do not know about it. I've put an entire section in the newsletter that's getting ready to go out that has information about this. I'm working on completing it, and I hope that I'll have it finished to go out this week. And I've put some documentation that HR has given me about forms, different identification that could possibly be needed that night for them to bring along with them. But I've also put the phone number for the office if they have any questions to give me a call. And one of the things that I think will be beneficial and a lot of them will like about this change is the fact that since they will be a county employee, they will have the option of direct deposit where they don't now being a contract laborer. So that might appeal to some, but then I think the filling of the paperwork, filling it out will probably, a lot of them won't like that, but it only has to be done one time.
You think you'll lose anybody?
I'm sorry?
You think you lose anybody?
I hope not. I hope with HR being there to help fill out the paperwork that it'll make it go a lot smoother and that we won't lose anybody because of it.
Okay.
One of the other things is that with them being a county employee, they will have a background check done on them. So that will be beneficial, that we'll have that for our records, that we have done background checks on all of our poll workers.
And so they just get paid the same as what they would pay?
The rate will be the same, but they'll get paid on through payroll instead of through finance. The only issue that I see a lot of them having is if you work and make over $2,000 in a calendar year, they will have to take FICA taxes out. So I think a lot of them won't like that. And I added up the ones that work advanced voting every day, and just in that one election, they almost exceed that amount.
So people that do advanced voting and then if you use it for the election, they're really going to go over the limit.
Yeah, if you work advanced voting for one election, you might be right there at the threshold. But if you, like if we have the runoff, or if they work that second election in the general election, then it's going to put them over that 2,000 mark. Now, HR did tell me that if they know, because there's only a handful of them that will reach that, but if they know, they can sign the form to allow them to go ahead and start taking FICA taxes out now, so therefore they won't have to pay one amount after the $2,000.
So if they go over $2,000, then they have to pay FICA taxes on the $2,000.
Yes.
Oh, I hope he's happy.
Pardon me.
That's okay.
Social dog. Baby girl, come over here.
Point of order, one final question for me. How's that line up with the budget? Do you have to move things around because we have it all as contract?
I will have to do a budget line transfer because that money is in contract labor, so I will just have to transfer that money. They're going to create a line item for me for temporary employees, and I will just transfer that money from that one line item up to the other.
I heard some of the other folks at the conference talking about that.
Yeah, a lot of the counties have already went to paying their employees like this, and with the changes with the IRS, I think all of them are gonna have to.
Any other discussion? Did I hear a motion?
Did we get a board,
You need to just
motion?
approve.
I don't remember.
We didn't put it in form of motion.
I'll motion to approve.
And that's for the $50 for poll worker training, okay.
I second.
Any further discussion? All in favor signify by that, lift your right hand.
Aye.
Staff comments.
I think that getting back from our conference in Athens, that we took in a lot of information in a very short amount of time. I think it was a very valuable and useful information. I want to thank the board for all attending. We have been going back and forth through emails about House Bill 1464. It went to the Senate Ethics Commission and was voted on to be pushed forward in a shell of itself, which was LC 471865S. It went to the Senate Rules Committee yesterday morning, and it was voted on last night by the Senate. I haven't saw the final copy, but what I have been told is the only portion that has been passed through is the section on the FBI having jurisdiction.
If it went to rules, it has no impact on this election, because it hasn't been approved.
No, from what I was told, it was just the only part of the section that was going to even go through with the rest of the bill was just the part about the FBI. I've been told that it would be July before that would even take effect, but everything that would affect our poll workers, that has been taken out of it.
Was that for SB 89 or for 1464?
Well, it went from 1464 to,
Well, that was 1464.
yeah, and then the shell of that was the LC 471865.
Section 9 of the original.
And then it went to the SB,
Rules Committee, the Senate Rules Committee
Yeah.
as SB 89.
yes,
So really, they didn't approve all the stuff that they put back in.
no,
Really?
You mean the GBI? You said the FBI, you mean the GBI?
no, it was the
The
FBI.
FBI?
Mhm.
Oh, really? Because we're talking about the GBI.
Yeah, it was the FBI. It gives them authority to bypass having to get approval from the Secretary of State to enter, to any
Investigate.
investigation that they need to do on elections. They don't have to have approval from the Secretary of State. We received our ballot proofs on Thursday, so our office has been working on approving those. We're all the way through with proofing the actual physical ones. We're going through listening to the audio now. We should finish that up this week. We had a Zoom conference with the Secretary of State this morning on Jarvis. We will not be using Jarvis for this election. When they launched it, there was so many issues that they were not able to work out. We're gonna go back to ENET to go through this election. Jarvis is what we will be using in the future, but this way it gives them time to work out all the kinks before this election, and they don't have to worry about anything going down, it not working the way that it's supposed to. So they're looking at relaunching that sometime in July. I emailed our liaison about the Firefly login for Larry and Joe. I hope that you got an email
Yes.
from them. If not, please let me know.
Yeah, I have not, I just checked.
Because I talked to her this morning. A couple dates that I would like you to keep in mind is the deadline to register to vote is April the 25th. Advanced in-person voting starts May the 2nd and goes through May the 20th. with May the 7th and 14th being the Saturdays. Monday through Friday will be 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Saturdays is 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. The deadline to request absentee ballots for the May election is May the 13th. The election is May 24th. We are planning on starting our LNA testing April the 18th. Poll worker training will be at 5:30 in the evenings, April the 18th through the 21st. We are working on assigning the poll workers that we have now to different precincts, and then by the end of this week, we're going to get an email out to the poll managers so they can notify their workers of which day their poll worker training is, because we've assigned it by precinct. I spoke with Commissioner Stansel on our new office. They are waiting for the State Patrol to finish getting furniture out. They put it out to the different state patrols. Any other State Patrol office that's interested in the furniture that they have there can come get it. That's what's holding up renovation starting, but we are still on point looking at possibly moving in August and getting settled before that November election. Like I said earlier, the second quarter newsletter, I'm hoping to have it finished up by the end of this week for it to go out. We were planning on scheduling some precinct location checks, but because of the weather, I was going to try to do some tomorrow, but because of the weather, I think I'm going to move it to next week. So I'll start with that next week. I've spoke with several of the school officials at the precincts where we have school locations. School will be in session during that time, so I've tried to get with the principals on parking, making sure that our voters have a place to park close to the entrance, making sure that we have enough parking spaces, making sure that we're not interfering with school buses coming in. So I'm working with them at this point in time on the 3 locations that we have that are located at schools. Right now, we're working on a schedule for the board members on election day about dividing up precincts. So that way y'all can go by and check and make sure that they have everything that they need. One of the things that we are going to do is have the board members with a box full of election supplies. So extra stickers, extra forms. That way if one of the precincts is running low, you have that, don't have to come all the way back to the office and get that. So we're working on putting that together. I do ask that each board member attend at least one night of the poll worker training.
Tell me again when it was.
It's the 18th through the 21st. It will be in this room, and it'll start at 5:30.
April 18th.
And we'll be here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we thought this would give us more room, and we're going to try to do 3 precincts at a time. So it will give us the space, and then we can set the equipment up in here for Roger to demonstrate. And then I would just like to thank Rhonda and Kay and Cathy for the hard work that they've put in. Cathy and Kay held the office together and worked diligently while we were all at conference, and we have just been slammed with things going on since we got back with ballot proofing, getting absentee ballots ready, and we have a wonderful staff, and I just want to let them know how much I appreciate them and their hard work.
And we do too.
Yes.
Other than that's all the updates I have for you right now.
Question, do you need any more help ballot proofing? I know last time we had other folks look at that, so if you need a more set of eyes, I'm sure any of us would be happy to reach out.
Okay.
If you need it.
That's all.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Public comments. Any public comments?
Yeah, hi. David Lindsey, Refuge Precinct on Camp Road. Welcome. Thank you. I'd like to meet each one of you individually at a different time. I have been involved with the board, and I'm coming up out of Cherokee, so there's been lots and lots of board issues here.
You wouldn't want to be a volunteer, would you?
It depends. I'm committed on a lot of things, but I may very well. I'm open. One of the questions that I had was that on the election work, I have volunteered actually to work without charge just to be able to do it. And there may be more like me that are willing to do that. And I didn't know if that was an issue. The question I did have was, is the logic and accuracy testing open to the public?
It is.
Okay, all right, so, okay. All right, well, like I say, if I can be of any help, I'm more than happy. Help, I'm sure I've been an attorney for 20 years. So.
So good here.
I don't know, that may not help. Come on, Cathy.
Now spoiled is
No, she's a pack full of lesson. Julie, so sorry. She wouldn't know what to do with it.
I'll ask off. I'm concerned about the dates or the times when you can vote. I work here, I live up here in Pickens County, but I work in Atlanta. And basically I'm gone 13 hours a day, so 8 to 5, Monday through Friday does not work for me at all.
We have Saturday voting on the 7th and the 14th.
So 2 days.
Yes.
So if I'm out, I can't vote. If I'm out of town on those days, in other words, I have to make sure that I'm in town.
You have the option of 17 days to vote, or you can request an absentee ballot application.
Okay, so that, I'll have to kind of look at that, kind of, all of that.
Yeah, and the application we have in our office, or you can get it offline. When you fill out the application, if you just want it for this one election, you have the option of that, or you can have the option to get it for the entire election cycle, which would be up through possibly December if there's a runoff in December.
Okay.
But if you just need it for the one, that is an option. You can get an absentee ballot, or you could do Monday through Friday for the 3 weeks, or the 2 Saturdays, or even on election day. And it's from 7 to 7 on election day.
I see it as being an issue with so many people, new people moving into Pickens County. And now a lot of them are working down in Atlanta. And you're gonna have on those 2 days that are Saturdays, you're gonna get swamped. So the lines will be ridiculous. And so
We are planning on adding 2 extra machines during advanced voting because we normally have 4. We are planning on having 6 for this election. So we're hoping that will help keep down the lines.
why aren't we expanding the times during Monday through Friday from, say, 8 to 8 or 7 to 7 or something of that nature?
We've not had the need to do that yet with our size population.
And the law does require that employers allow people a couple of hours to
Okay.
take off.
Well,
Doesn't work
okay,
for
I'm a
you?
nurse and I work in a school, and so that there is no way that you, I mean, you can't.
I figured it.
And my fear is that there are a lot of other people that the same situation as I am that work long hours that are not gonna be able to get into the, so I don't know what the mail-in is like, so I'll have to get with you, I don't wanna hold up the
Yeah,
meeting, but.
You have to, with SB 202, you have to request, you have to turn in an application to request the absentee ballot. So in your situation, I would just suggest to request an absentee ballot because of your work schedule. And like I said, you can check the box to either have it just for this election, or if you think that your work schedule would
How
require.
long before the election do I have to do that?
You have until the May 13th to request the application,
From today.
or to turn in the application.
And can she do it right now, or is
She would have to come to our office, or you could do it online.
okay, I mean, the timing, they can request now, or there's a certain, it has to be certain time before,
Yes.
so it's within that time.
Yes.
What is the date that you can't mail them out before when? It's like 11 days before.
Yeah, I don't have, my book that has that date in it in front of me, but yeah, we have a certain date that we can't start mailing them out until then.
Have you been getting many applications?
We've got around 40 right now. And we do expect some more to come in because we've had several people, come by and pick up applications.
Anything else?
Board comments.
Joe, you and I talked, I mentioned to Stacy as well in the phone conversation about possibly a couple of us that are comfortable speaking with groups to talk about some of the changes that have taken place with regard to Senate Bill 202, kind of put all these things in perspective, because there are a lot of folks out there that are real uncomfortable with our voting systems, and the media has not helped us out too much in that regard. They've made it quite challenging. And I think it would be a good opportunity to educate the public with regard to what some of the changes are, what some of the security features are, what the fact that, yeah, their vote's going to count, and it's extremely important, particularly for this board, that all the security that we pay attention to, and all the procedures that we pay attention to protect this very valued right. I would like some comments from some others if you think that's a good, a worthless, or a bad idea to do some stuff like that in the community ahead of the elections.
Or
What groups are you talking about? Just,
What kind of groups are you talking about?
Any public, any kind of community groups such as the Rotary, the Optimist, the American Legion, you know, anybody, you know, nonprofit groups like that that have a sizable membership that we can get in front of and just share some changes that have been made and protections that are in place that set their mind at ease and feel comfortable about what they're about to do.
I guess it wouldn't hurt if it's done right.
Yeah, I would say if that's something that we're going to pursue, I would want there to be some level of questions that would come up that we can actually answer, because some of these things get deep into law. It goes all over the place, and the last thing I want to do in a public venue like that is say something that's inaccurate.
Yeah.
It'll probably
It's
go
thick. Yeah, real thick.
well, that's why we were trying to put things out in the papers.
Mhm, and
you
we'll
know, a little more
continue to do that
detail,
as
and just
well.
keep- But it is very complicated, and even just trying to lay it out in writing, you know, you don't want to confuse people, because there's so many changes, and I don't even know what this SB 89 might have done, but it won't affect this election, right?
No, and as soon as I get a copy, I will send it out to the board like I have the previous copies.
Yeah.
We've ordered some more, and we're just waiting for them to come in. The election store was low on inventory, so they only sent us a couple, and we've requested enough for the whole board to have one.
Do we have any kind of like a fact sheet? You know, here's what you need to know that we can just hand out or put on the website?
Can you speak up?
Do they have like a fact sheet or anything that, I mean, that we could produce, that we could put on the website or something?
A fact sheet for what?
Well, you know, like a piece of paper with just all the timelines and what you need to know.
I have a sheet that has deadlines on it.
The calendar, butterfly calendar.
Yeah, a condensed calendar, but I don't really have anything that has highlighted points of like SB 202. You know, that's a very thick bill, and I don't have anything.
No,
other
they're
than-
just like with the average voter that has, you know, here's what you need to know for your, you know, absentee ballot, here's where you need to go, here's the deadline for this, here's the deadline for registration voting, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and we can definitely, if the board wanted to vote on the different groups for board members to go speak on, we could get a sheet together of highlighted points, you know, that have those dates and, you know, locations of advanced voting and times and all of that to address to the different organizations, but as far as the high points for the bill, we don't have anything for the legislation that's been passed.
Larry,
Yeah.
what are you talking about, what people are confused about? Do you want to go in and talk about, okay, when you go to vote, this, and this is gonna happen, or are you gonna talk about the whole scope of what we're doing?
No, I think it needs to be at a very high level. It doesn't need to get down in the woods, in the weeds with legalese and all that sort of thing. I think that it should be more of a reassurance of, hey, here are a couple of points that are taking place with regard to Senate Bill 202 and some of the other legislation that's taken into place, that your legislature has listened to you and they've done things to strengthen your processes and your right to vote. And you know, I don't want to get down in the weeds about anything, because you can stand there all day and talk about.
But people are going to want to get down into the weeds.
Well,
Then you're going to have to say,
Yes.
what?
I don't think you get down in the weeds and argue, because without a doubt, you will run into somebody that will want to press the point of, my vote didn't count because. And from my standpoint, I can stand there and say, hey, here's what happened in the precinct, here's where it went to, and here's what happened.
How can you say my vote didn't count? How does he know his vote didn't count?
Well, that's the question that I had from voters on January 5th was, a good 25% plus that came through there. Is this really going to count? When it goes through, do all this, is it really going to count? And at that point, I told them, from my perspective, you go through this process, you check your ballot, it gets scanned into the machine. It's then put on an SD card where we download it to the state from the Board of Elections office. So from the precinct, the county level, right into the state, we know that everything, unless there's something blows up, that it is all gone. The problem that, and the media played right into this, and that it was a completely stolen election, and until I got involved, I kind of thought there were some issues and things involved with the election prior to, because, like so many, I heard what the media was saying, and then once I got involved with it, it was like, no, there's no way.
Depends on the media you're talking about, too.
Well, I've turned it off since. I don't listen to any of it. But, I think that we need to reassure the public that, things have been looked at real hard to make sure that right is preserved.
Yeah, okay. And to kind of handhold and say, okay, this is.
Yeah, we're here to look out for you to make sure that happens right.
And I kind of worried about it late, but now because I've gone through all the election stuff, I know what's happening.
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that along the lines, and reassurance, and say, hey, this has been looked at 15 ways from Sunday. It's, this has been done, that's been done, this has been done. Added security, added processes, minimizing things that were problematic, and enhanced it going forward.
Just speaking as an observer, I was at Cherokee's Board of Election meeting yesterday, and there were 150 people there on just that issue. So I applaud the board for considering that. I think that would go a long way, especially to reassure people who might otherwise feel like they shouldn't vote this time because their vote, they're not certain it'll matter.
Yeah, and I think there needs to be some reassurance out there in the community. It's a percentage. It's not a big percentage, but it's a percentage of folks that.
And if you talk to the Rotary Club and some various other groups like that, does it filter down then to the general public, maybe?
Yeah, I'm hoping it will. Yeah. Because we can't. There's no way in the world we can get to every little church and everything else to talk to 30,000 people or 17,000 people in this county. But we can hit some of these key groups and get on their agenda and talk 15, 20 minutes. and give some folks a face to ask some questions of if they have them.
Yeah, and I agree. And you know, I do that in the GOP meeting, and I guess you guys probably do that in your meetings, where I reassure people or try and educate them on the way things work, because they're just wrong about some things. I've also spent many hours educating this way, but that's typically on a one-on-one basis. I agree with you. I think it's a good idea, but again, I think that there's always going to come in some of those things. We need somebody to say, that's an interesting piece, but I can't answer it now. Let me get your name and information. We'll get an answer, get it back to you, and get back promptly, assured. But some pre-questions before the meeting would be good, because it will help drive the content of what they actually want to know.
Should we wait and see what we get back from 1464 before we start trying to make
done?
Well, I think,
House is done. It's closed.
Well, yeah.
Legislation season's closed.
I think that, the reason I thought that we should have this under board discussion was so that y'all could be thinking about it. We can put it on the agenda for a vote of how we want to address it for the next meeting. So in this time period between now and next month, y'all can be thinking about, how you want to, handle it, what organizations you possibly want to address with it. And it just gives the board time to think about it before we put it to a vote at the next meeting.
All right, well, I'll make a motion, we table this and research how we approach it and what the content should be, and bring it to the next meeting.
Yeah, everybody kind of think about what content should be, write it down, let's have a discussion and make, vote at the next meeting.
Motion's on the floor.
Second.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Unanimous. Anyone have anything further?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned.